Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining me. It's another new week, and I hope you're having a great time and looking forward to the week and doing quite a lot in so many ways. Thank you so much. My name is Solomon Izanga Shams, and some people call me Uncle Sol, Uncle Solomon, even my 3-year-old. So thank you for joining me. How was your weekend? Did you manage to make it to church? I couldn't make it to church myself, so I attended church online because I only 50 people are allowed, in churches in South Africa. So, and my church has two services, 8:30 and 10 a.m. And you were supposed to book before you go. So, but I booked late, it was full. But for next Sunday, I already did book today already. So I'm going to be in church physically on Sunday for the first time in a long time. I go to a church called the Junction Church. It's part of the Every Nation Church. So it's an Every Nation Church. That's the church that I go to. And how about you? Yes, I see hello from Choni. Choni is there. We got quite a, yeah, I got Matimu here saying, hi, Uncle Sol. Hello, guys. Emma, as always, from the Namibia. Mr. M. Shades Nduli from Eswatini. Where are you watching from? Give me a heads up where you're watching from. Give me a heads up. Somebody's asking Uncle Solo, the story of the Sitley girl once interviewed by you, was it true? Yes, very much. Very much. Tandile is saying, Uncle Solomon, this lunchtime exposures are becoming popular. I think I should really not just be doing it in the evening, but I should do it also around this time, because I see around this time there's quite a bit of people that actually tune in to watch. Though that's not the most important thing, but the most important thing is to get the truth out there. Lindy Way from Midrand, thank you. Choni is in Linksfield. Onelena here in South Africa. Kamutu from Kenya. Thank you, guys. Appreciate every one of you. Lungelo from Cape Town, as usual. George from Rosebank here in Johannesburg. Victor Daniels, all the way from my city, from the city of Jos in Nigeria. That was where I was born. That was where I grew up. My family still lives there. My mom is still there. And my brothers, only my sister. One of my sisters lives in Abuja, and the other brother lives in Kano. It's greetings from Doha. So we have all the way from Doha. Yeah, thumbs up to you too. I see you. Ora, who's that again? Yeah, I know him very well. My friend's cousin. Ayo Ade from Dallas, Texas. From the Free State, we have calls. We have viewers. Letitia from Isando here in Johannesburg by the airport. So thank you guys so much for joining me. Jeremiah's from Mozambique. Wow, Mozambique. I'm trying to speak some Portuguese to you. My head is thinking Korean, Kamsamida, which is Korean. How do you say hello again? I'm trying to remember my Portuguese. It's been a while. I used to live with Brazilians, so I got a bit of it. Cindy Swa from Kimberley, Sydney from Pulukwani. Thank you, guys. Thank you, every one of you. Thank you so much. And again, as usual, I want to thank every one of you who has joined us via Telegram. You can join us via Telegram, please. Just go put in this number, send your name, and then we send you a link. Or I could actually send a link. I'll put a link here also, and then you can join us. But just use this number, send us a message so we can add you up on Telegram. People are beginning to pray. People are beginning to interact in different ways, and we have to create that community that is very encouraging the truth of who Jesus is and how together we can stand and really stand for the values and the principles that God has given us. If we don't do that right now, if we don't stand together and support each other, there's just no way we're going to be able to make it. There's going to be a lot of obstructions and distractions. but it's just a community of people that believe in the truth, in the totality of God's truth, that we could pray together, that we could support each other, that we could wait on God and support what I do also. So please use this number to send us a message so we can add you up. And for some of you guys who've been sending and supporting my legal cost, I really want to thank you so much. Tomorrow, I'm going to give a breakdown of how much I had received, from who, through what, and what that money had been used for. That's what I'm going to do tomorrow. So tomorrow, I'm going to give a breakdown, and I'm going to tell you the amount of money that I've actually paid Pastor Alf Lukau, who is taking me to court, because there was an order from the court that says I have to pay for their application. Now, and I have to pay 44,000 rand. How much are we talking about? We're talking about what? Just a little less than, about $3,000. And I had to pay like now. I've made a payment of 20,000 already. And now I have to make another payment, like between now and tomorrow, and that all that is going to a man of God, and for me, money is not really a big deal. Money is something that I value other things far more than money. We need money and all that kind of stuff. But if somebody thinks taking my money or taking our money is going to make me ineffective, or is going to make us ineffective, I don't see how. I'll be glad to give you everything, but I'm never going to be ineffective, because we know the mandate that God has called us to. So tomorrow I'm going to give a breakdown of everything, and also update you regarding my court date, which is next week, the 24th. Now, this is an issue that is going to drag for a long time. Chances are it's going to drag for the rest of the year. So the money that I've raised, now I need about $3,000. And my attorney is telling me, Solomon, you need about $10,000 for the rest of the year, if it goes that way. And depending on which way the case goes, they would end up paying my bill, or end up paying their bill. So you never know these things, So I'm actually trying to set up a GoFundMe account, just so I can get people to support that course and all that, and everything that comes in. I would give you a breakdown, because I don't use this, unlike so many pastors, I don't use this for myself. I don't need to ask you to give me money to buy clothes, or to eat, or to buy a car, because I have enough to eat. I have enough to clothes. I don't wear expensive clothes, and that's fine. So please, if you want to support, you can do that via this net bank account. We would love to CD is saying he will repay that money back 1,000,000 times. It's a matter of time. That's the way God works. That's the way God works. If you take anything from the righteous, the payback. Sometimes I sit down and I feel so much compassion for Alf Lukau, believe it or not, because I know my truth. I know what I said. And if what has been happening like this, it's a way to intimidate me, then so be it. But God knows the truth. And a lot of you guys have been supporting me, and I appreciate it. And like I said, this is a journey, and this is not about me. This is about truth. It's not about Solomon. It's not about Lukau and Solomon. No. My standing is Lukau and the truth. That's just my standing, So please, if you are overseas, if you want to support, or if you prefer using PayPal, please use solomontalks@yahoo.com. Talks@yahoo.com. My wife has actually prepared a spreadsheet for me to break down and give accountability to you, and account for every money that came in. We actually had to use a little bit part of our money also, because we've been pushed to the wall and we don't have enough money that we've raised. So tomorrow I'm going to give you a breakdown, because I want We need to create a culture of transparency where all of us would be able to be transparent. I wish churches were transparent. There are great churches that are transparent. Every year they put in all their accounting ledger or whatever, how much was spent for what and everything in the church, not, and they email it to people also. And that's the way it should be. That way, everything is clear, everything is in the open, and the devil is not going to come in and trick certain people to use monies for things that they were not supposed to use. Now, at this time, I want to just talk to you about an article that actually came out about a story about a couple that used to be disciples of TB Joshua. Now, this couple called Angela and Dave used to reside in Lagos for so many years. Angela has actually spent about 10 years in Lagos, Nigeria, in Synagogue Church of All Nations, the Church of TB Joshua. And while she was there, that was when she met her husband, Dave, and they got married. Angela is South African. So they served in different ministries and they rose to the position of disciples. Now, Bisola Johnson is very much aware of this story. She actually knows them. She knows the story better than I do. Now, I brought out this story so we can reflect on the roles that we play in churches and what we keep quiet when we see things happening in church. We keep quiet. Because when they came out, the first thing they did is to apologize for deceiving and misleading people. Now, there are so many leaders, deacons, elders, pastors in churches, leaders of ministries in churches who know and see what is wrong, with the leadership of the church, what the pastor or the leaders or people are doing wrong, but they never come out to speak about it. Now, what that does, it will damage you, it will damage those who are doing it, and it will damage the reputation of the church. No matter how secretive you think you're doing it, no matter how hidden you think it is, people still see it and know. And one day, when God decides to bring everything from darkness into his marvelous light, you're going to see how damaging that is going to do. And that's what happened to Angela especially. Now, this part of their story was written by the husband, Dave. And Angela was sort of on the background. He was narrating how and what she's been through. And when he wrote this, they had a baby already. So they are happily married and they have a baby. But he said it took her about 3 years for her to actually open up to him. He was wondering what was happening. We are serving in this wonderful ministry called Synagogue of All Nations with this globally famous pastor prophet called Prophet TB Joshua. But what is going on with you, Angela? This is a dream that we've dreamt, to serve God, to pray for the sick so they recover, to pray for the blind so they could see, to pray for the lame so they could work. And that's what they've been going through. And like I said, every one of us in church have a position. Either we're just a member, either we're serving in the ministry, either we're leaders. I want us to pick some truths from the story of Angela and Dave, because it took them years to actually come up and open up this way. Now let's go through their story that I sort of like transcribe. Now this is their story, right? Not this one. Yeah, start from the top here. Yes. So this is a letter they wrote. They say the email they wrote and they sent it to so many different people. They say, first of all, we would like to sincerely apologize for misleading you. We have deceived you in that we kept silent about many of things of the things that take place at Synagogue Church of All Nations in Lagos, Nigeria, SCOAN in Lagos. We have also misled you by justifying and making excuses for many inexcusable things that take place at SCOAN and on Emmanuel TV. So first, they didn't just deceive people and kept quiet. When they see the truth, when they see lies, they kept quiet. They don't speak the truth. When they see a sin, they keep quiet. When they see injustice, they keep quiet. When they see any sort of, sexual abuse, they keep quiet. When they see lies and hear about it, they keep quiet. So they misled people. And second part of it said, we have also misled you by justifying and making excuses for many inexcusable things. And that's what we see in a lot of churches today. Things that you cannot excuse, you excuse. I've had people saying, well, their pastor is only human. When their pastor is caught committing adultery, when their pastor is caught, with money from the tithes and the offerings. No, he's only human. That is justifying it and making excuses for it. And you who do that, you are equally guilty. You are equally part of the sin, because what you're trying to do now is to cover it, because you know what the Bible is so clear about. He that covers his sin shall not prosper. And we know what the Bible says about justifying and making excuses. We see a leader doing stuff, we make excuses about it. That's what they're apologizing for. So they went on to say, over the last few years, Angie, that is Angela, has suffered with depression and suicidal thoughts. She made sure she was strong for the team and in public, but it was a continual battle. In private, she would say things like, I wish I was never born. Or, it's so difficult to continue with life. I am praying for God to kill me. Or, if not for you and love it, I would kill myself. So this is Angela, who rose and was part of the disciples at Synagogue Church of All Nations. They have access to TB Joshua. They put together these programs on TV. They were part of the TV, part of the media. They were the ones that would pray for people, because only disciples are allowed to pray for people. But got married to her, and this is what she was saying. He never had a full knowledge of what actually happened. Now, for somebody who is serving God and get to a place of depression and suicidal thoughts while serving God, while she was serving God, she was inflicted with that pain in the so-called house of God. That must be very, very painful for somebody to get to that kind of place. And a lot of women in a lot of churches, they get to that kind of place. The other night, some lady sent me a message, a girl last year, she sent me a message, she's cutting herself because she wants to kill herself. She was raped by false prophet Bushiri. And she went to his church first with her parents who are pastors. He saw her. He said he needed to pray for her. She could come back. She came back. He said, no, come meet me at the hotel. That's another day. She went to the hotel and he raped her. She told her parents. Her parents didn't believe her. So obviously depression is going to set in. You would ask questions about life. Why this? What's the meaning of this life anyway? And there are so many women that are sitting in churches with depression and suicidal thoughts because of things that was inflicted on them by pastors in the church, leaders in the church, the senior prophet, or whoever. So he continues. He said, so she carried a lot of guilt. Over time, she carried a lot of guilt. And here her husband Dave is saying, she explained that TB Joshua used to call her to his room, make her take her clothes off, although not her underwear, and basically either masturbate himself on her or tell her to masturbate him. On one occasion, he told her to remove her underwear and had sexual intercourse with her. Now, some people would hear this and say, no, that's not true. How can he do that? A lot of pastors do this. A lot of prophets do this. And they know that when people like this speak, when people like myself speak, a lot of you are not going to believe it because they are men of God, because they are powerful. You see them on TV. But no, not at all. Not at all. So for the first time, the husband now is being brought closer to the wider pain that his wife is going through. She's now disclosing to him what she went through in the hands of TB Joshua. And then he said, in Synagogue Church of All Nations, disciples were conditioned to basically consider TB Joshua as infallible. He even has a teaching about this. Disciples would say he has weaknesses, but no disciple will tell you a weakness that he has. We basically consider him above correction, above wrong. We justify everything he does. Anyone who speaks against him is labeled as a blasphemer. Questioning him is said to be questioning the Holy Spirit. Now that's a cult, straight up cult. And there are some of you know there are churches that you go to like this today that they're that way. Some of you have been to some churches that have some sort of the same modus operandi. Now she's depressed. Now you obviously when you like she went through what she went through with TB Joshua, how will she speak? Because he told her after he did everything, he told her like, look, he's trying to help her because of the problem that she has. That's why he's doing that to her. That's why he's calling her to the room and sexually abusing her. The same thing with Omotosho, isn't it? You see the kind of atrocities that happens. I'm not going to go into all the details and everything, but I'm just going to take some just snippets. And then also, some of the things that they said they've noticed whilst in Synagogue Church of All Nations. Remember, these people served there for over 10 years. Faithfully. They're part of the people who are foreigners in Nigeria with the Synagogue Church of All Nations. You see quite a lot of them on TV. Here they're saying, in my years as a disciple, I've seen female disciples lovingly stroking TB Joshua's legs, and he has not done anything to stop it. I have seen female disciples go to his bedroom alone at night on multiple occasions. I've been called to his room at night to find him alone with a female. Right there, you know that something is wrong. Right there, you know that something is wrong. And you guys that are watching and listening, you have to watch out for certain things like this in your church or with your pastor or your prophet. And when you see this, you cannot sit down and tolerate it. You speak out, and if there's no changes, you leave. Except you want to be part of the criminality of these people where you just keep quiet, stay in silent, say it's none of your business. Say no, it's only human. Say no, only God can judge him. Say no, touch not the Lord's anointed and do his prophet no harm. Those are some of the excuses that we hear every time, isn't it? We see and hear that a lot. How long? For how long would this go on? Like I said, I'm bringing this story just so we can see how a lot of us within the church structure, we tolerate and allow a lot of things. Now, until we begin to speak out, trust me, these problems are going to be there. And I'm not saying you're going to solve the problem. No. But when you speak out, when you bring this to the attention of the leadership, whether they do something about it or not, you've done your part. And if they are able to do something about it, praise God. Everyone is going to repent and everyone is going to make their ways right with God. But if they choose not to do anything about it and cover the sin of this man, then it's time for you to say, adios, thank you very much, I'm gone. you leave that congregation and go find another congregation, because that is clearly telling you the kind of leadership that you're serving under. I don't care how prophetic your leader is. I don't care how many people he had raised from the dead or healed. I don't care. Because what is important is our conduct. Our Christ-like nature is more important than our gifts. Do not fear man. I'm the kind of person where I don't care who you are, how powerful, how anointed you are. If you're wrong, you're wrong. I wouldn't look at your title and how much you've accomplished. No, God doesn't care about that. Anyway, let's finish up this story of Angela and Dave. So, also they're saying some of the things they observe is that number 8 there is TB Joshua does not live with his wife. She has her apartment and he has his apartment. So they don't live together. I've said this several times and people think, no, that's not true. And I know other pastors and leaders who they don't live together. Number 9 says TB Joshua walked unannounced into the girls' room in Johannesburg, and one of the disciples was topless. He didn't leave or apologize, and she didn't cover up. So it seems like they are both used to it. It seems like that's what the kind of life that they live. It's nothing strange. It's not the first time. He has seen it before. And there are pastors that I know, they have their home, they have their home with their wife, but then they maintain another home somewhere where they do all their shenanigans. Or they have a special hotel where everything happens there. And they tell people that that is their place of prayer. They would know, come to my place of prayer. And when they come there, the girls coming for help, coming for counseling, and guess what happens to them? They get raped. A lot of them. And continuing, here we're looking at, they're pinpointing some of the idolatry within TB Joshua's church. Here they say in TB Joshua fan club, it's linked from official side. So the fan club wasn't just somebody that just started that fan club for him. No. It's something that is part of the extension of the way they're trying to project his image. Secondly, they say TB Joshua's face on all merchandise. People, it's not, let me even take this out. It's not just for the fun of it that you see pastors and prophets and apostles putting their faces on t-shirts, on everything, on books, on in the Bible and everything, and put it out there. It's on the oil, on the water, on the candles and everything. No, it's not by mistake. It's not by mistake that they did that. Not at all. There's a way they're trying to penetrate your mind to make sure that in your mind, they get you that you see them now as this superior people, where you see what you see a lot everywhere, you begin to believe it, and you begin to believe that is greater than any other. So it's not by mistake that they put all these photos. Thirdly, they said TB Joshua's picture sold in photo frames at the church. Those who buy his picture are allowed to have anointed oil. You buy his picture, you have anointed oil. That picture, you know the damage that those pictures of all these prophets that put their picture on everything, do you know the damage that they've caused in your life? Do you know how they have used that to hypnotize you and to destroy you mentally? Because some of these pictures, actually, they're not just pictures. There's so much witchcraft that goes into it. There's so much evil spirit in it. You put it in your house, you think things are going to get well. You put it in your car. No, it's from one problem to another. Now you've given them control over your house, your car. So they also say in TB Joshua's picture, hung next to other gods' generals, people often kneel down when speaking to him, not just in service. So you have all this. And you look at this one here, what Angela herself, she have seen TB Joshua do. This is what they've seen TB Joshua do. He said, slap disciples, men and women, incredibly hard in the face. So they've seen them slap disciples. They've seen them slap women and men. They've seen TB Joshua slap men and women and disciples in the head. They've seen TB Joshua push disciples over because he's angry or something, he doesn't agree with something. They've seen him whip disciples until they bleed and urinate on the floor. They've seen him make disciples walk around naked to disgrace them. Sorry guys, hold on. No. Yes. Yes. Good. Yes, I sent you the link. I sent you a WhatsApp. Just wait for me, please. I'm doing something now. Wait for me. Give me 5 minutes. Sorry, guys. I had to attend to someone coming to fix something. So you've read through it. He makes disciples kneel down for 3 days as a form of punishment on numerous occasions, drops the phone when he hears something he doesn't want to. These are true story. And finally, some of the deceptions that they have seen whilst there. In many of the healing videos, the audio of TB Joshua saying in the name of Jesus is added later, although he never said it at all at that time. So he doesn't use the name of Jesus, but later on, in many of the healing video, they add in the name of Jesus to what he had said. In TB Joshua's personal testimony documentary, the photo of him in prison is blatantly photoshopped, yet it is claimed to be real. The phone receivers in the office lie often. TB Joshua instructs them to tell callers that he is either at the mountain or resting when he is actually in the office. That's what they do. They tell you they've gone to the mountain to pray for you. That's a lie. There was no mountain, no prayer. That's a lie. They said they have a special place where they go to pray. That's the place where they prey on women, where they abuse sexually, they damage women, where they tell you to come and meet them. That's what they do. That's what they do. You don't know these people. And if you are not Nigerian like me, where you punish somebody, where you tell them to kneel down, if you say you kneel down for 3 days, it's not like you're going to kneel down all through. And don't be surprised if they actually told them to kneel down all through, or at certain time of the day, they come and kneel down for longer hours. Because in Nigeria, kneeling down, you don't know, kneeling down is one of the best form of punishment in Nigeria. And Nigerians who are watching this would agree with me. In schools, that's the way you punish people. The police or the military, when they harass you, that's what they do. So, and that's the story of this couple here, Angela and Dave. They served there for over 10 years as disciples. Now, I'm not there. I'm not somebody who is trying to tell you, I don't know TB Joshua. TB Joshua has harassed me before. The first death threat that I got came from TB Joshua's office in Lagos, Nigeria. His attorneys have threatened to take me to court so many years ago. TB Joshua has, in his church, when he was broadcasting live, took a copy of the magazine that I used to publish and told people, this magazine is not of God. That's TB Joshua. TB Joshua has destroyed a lot of my relationship with people here after I wrote an article about him. I gave him the opportunity to have his own side of the story. Never did. He sent me somebody from their office in Johannesburg here to come and meet me with his tapes and his DVDs and all that. I said, that's not what I want. I have questions because this is what allegations that are against him. So TB Joshua is not, if you know you're truly Christian, TB Joshua is not somebody you should be afraid of, or any of these charlatans. They're not somebody you should be afraid of. They're charlatans. The power of God is greater than the power of a charlatan. But my take for you today is, as you stand there, as you serve in church, as you serve in places, are you going to keep silent when you see sin continually being done by your leaders, by your prophet, by your apostle, by your pastor? Are you going to be quiet? Are you going to stay silent? Or are you going to manipulate? Or are you going to justify even what they're doing? You know, they're doing that in sin. Are you going to justify it? Because once we justify it, we keep silent, we're part of the problem. And there's no way the church is going to be powerful. There's no way the church is going to be anointed. TB Joshua is not anointed. His miracles are all created. He's the number one charlatan globally for me. But we have to learn from this. It's important. Like I said, TB Joshua has threatened me and all that kind of stuff. That's fine. You've done that. He got tired of it. People were even telling me at one point, no, you cannot go to Nigeria. I said, what do you mean I cannot go home? You know, about 8 years ago that I cannot go home. TB Joshua is powerful. He's going to ask people to, how can I live in fear? Why should we live in fear? Of man, sinful man, a charlatan. Why should you be afraid of a charlatan like Zondo, a charlatan like Bushiri? Like, do you know the power that God has given you, invested in you to start with? No, please. Don't give them a chance. Don't give them a chance. Anyway, I just wanted to share this little stuff with you guys. And if you are interested in joining our prayer group and also Solomon's Temple partner group, please use this number, send us a message so we can add you up. +2767 397 7197. So we can add you up. Please do that. And also, if you want to help with my legal costs as I continue my legal issue with Alf Lukau, please do that. NL Asham, a NetBank account. This account is the best place to do that and to put it. I would really appreciate it. Thank you so much for the so many people who have been giving. Some of you guys know Alf Lukau. He's the one that allegedly, resurrected somebody from the dead. Elliot, he said he never resurrected anybody, but the media is saying he resurrected somebody called Elliot. And he's the one that for 3 years now we've been having legal issues with him. So, and I've spent a lot of my money, and I need to be able to have extra money to be able to do that. I'm in need of about $3,000 for now, and actually, that's just for now. Between now and like next week, and then afterwards, if the case drags until through the year, then I'm gonna need about $10,000. But hey, it's money. God will provide. It's money. We don't hoard money as Christians. Money is to be spent. And if he's going to take out, if we have to pay them this money, then God will sort that out. I paid him last week, Friday, 20,000 Rand already, because the court order said there's an application that was put that was not done appropriately. I had to pay him. And I have to pay him another 24,000. Tomorrow, I'm going to give you a breakdown of how much you guys gave and what it was used for. because I want to be transparent. So if you want to connect on PayPal to support this, please do that. solomontalks@yahoo.com. Thank you guys. God bless you. And I hope to see you tomorrow, where I'm going to break down everything and also let you know what has been going on with all the monies and whatever. Thank you. Have a wonderful, wonderful day.